Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Ever wonder if there's an actual mathematical formula for happiness? Well, at least when it comes to shopping anyway. Every single day, we make countless decisions about what to buy, trying our best to stretch our hard-earned money as far as it can possibly go. But instead of just relying on gut feelings, economists treat consumer decision-making like a completely solvable mathematical mystery. And today, we are going to crack that mystery wide open together. We're going to unpack a fundamental economic concept that proves exactly how you can get the absolute most bang for your buck. So let's treat this like a fun challenge.
Okay, let's dive right into it. We are breaking this down into 4 quick chapters today. First, the proportionality rule. Next, the shopping dilemma. Then, the budget constraint test. And finally, the peak satisfaction proof.
Chapter 1. The proportionality rule, also known as equimarginal utility.
Right, so here is the bedrock of our whole explainer today. The law formally states the consumer maximizing his total utility will allocate his income among various commodities in such a way that the marginal utility of the last unit of money, or rupee, spent on each commodity is equal. I know, that sounds a bit dense, but in simple terms, it just means balancing your satisfaction per rupee perfectly across everything you buy. You aren't just looking at what gives you the most joy overall, you're looking at what gives you the most joy relative to what it actually costs you. And this simple mathematical formula illustrates that perfectly. MU stands for marginal utility. That's the extra satisfaction you get from consuming just one more unit of a good. And P, of course, stands for price. So MUX divided by PX, that is your satisfaction per rupee for good X. The law essentially says that to max out your overall happiness, you've got to arrange your purchases so that this exact ratio for good X perfectly matches the ratio for good Y. This is the famous proportionality rule.
Moving on to Chapter 2, the shopping dilemma. Let's look at a real-world scenario.
So how does this actually play out in real life? Picture this. You're at the store, and you have 2 options right in front of you. Good X, let's just call it a basic cup of coffee, priced at 5 rupees. And good Y, maybe a really fancy pastry, which is twice as expensive, at 10 rupees.
But here's the catch, and it's the catch we literally all face every day. You don't have a bottomless bank account. You have exactly 40 rupees in your wallet to spend on some combination of that coffee and that pastry, not a single peso more. Our goal right now is to spend this exact amount to hit the absolute highest level of satisfaction possible.
Now, as we start buying more units, something interesting happens. Thanks to the law of diminishing marginal utility, the more you have of something, the less of a thrill that next unit gives you, right? So those satisfaction per rupee numbers steadily drop. To hit our proportionality rule, where the ratios equal out perfectly, we just need to find where the numbers for good X and good Y match up. And if you track the numbers, they actually match at a few different spots. They match at 8, where we'd buy 3 units of X and 1 unit of Y. They also match at 7, at 6, and down at 5.
Chapter 3, the budget constraint test. Time to test that 40 rupee limit.
So we've basically found 4 different points where the proportionality rule is technically fulfilled. Combination 1 gives a matching ratio of 8, Combination 2 matches at 7, Combination 3 gives a ratio of 6, and Combination 4 gives a matching ratio of 5. Theoretically, any of these fulfill the equimarginal law perfectly, but, well, we still have to pay for them, right?
Let's run these through the ultimate reality check against our 40 rupee wallet. Remember, good X is 5 rupees, good Y is 10. For combination 1, 3 units of X and 1 of Y only cost 25 rupees. That leaves 15 rupees unspent. You're literally leaving happiness on the table by not maximizing your utility. Now check out combinations 3 and 4. Those come in at 55 rupees and 70 rupees. No way, that instantly breaks our budget. We just can't afford them.
But then we hit the crucial breakthrough. Let's look at combination 2. 4 units of good X at 5 rupees each is 20 rupees. 2 units of good Y at 10 rupees each is another 20 rupees. 20 plus 20 is exactly 40 rupees. Boom! This combination perfectly fulfills the proportionality rule and it completely drains our budget without exceeding it by a single fraction. It's the absolute perfect match.
Which brings us to Chapter 4, the peak satisfaction proof. Let's prove the math.
Now, I definitely don't expect you to just take my word for this. Let's prove it mathematically. To do that, we look at the raw marginal utility numbers, the actual units of satisfaction, or utils, we get from each item before we even factor in the price. For our 4 units of X, the joy we gain for each sequential unit drops from 50 to 45 to 40 to 35. Adding all those up gives us 170 utils. For our 2 units of Y, the first one gives us a massive 80 utils, and the second gives 70. That's another 150 utils. Add those up, 170 from good X and 150 from good Y, and you get a grand, undeniable total of 320 utils of pure consumer joy. And here's the absolute kicker. Because of the law of equimarginal utility, we can confidently state that no other combination of goods under a 40 rupee budget can beat that number. It is mathematically unbeatable. If you tried spending that 40 rupees any other way, like buying 8 coffees and 0 pastries, your total utility is going to fall mathematically short of 320. Every single time. And just like that, we've cracked the mathematical mystery of consumer equilibrium. You maximize your utility when the marginal utility of the last rupee spent on each good is totally, perfectly equal. It's actually wild how our brains often do this automatically, without us ever needing to pull out a calculator. So, I'll leave you with this thought to ponder. How do you implicitly use this proportionality rule to maximize utility during your own daily shopping? Next time you're standing in line choosing between that basic cup of coffee and the fancy pastry, remember the 320 utils and ask yourself, are you really getting the most joy per rupee?